Tonight on Syracuse Unpeeled.
Kanye West is filing lawsuits against multiple record companies.
SAG Award winners predict possible Oscar winners.
Leaving Neverland sparks controversy.
And Trevor Noah continues inclusive conversations on campus.
All that and more coming right up on Syracuse Unpeeled. Welcome back to another zesty episode of Syracuse Unpeeled. Hello, I'm Sacchi.
And I'm Carmella Boykin.
First, Chicago police are investigating an alleged attack against Emperor actor Jussie Smollett. The actor reports two men approaching him and hitting him in the face around 2 a.m. Tuesday morning. Though authorities are investigating hundreds of hours of surveillance footage, none has been found yet.
Celebrities and politicians alike have taken to social media to express their support of the actor, including Kamala Harris, Cory Booker, and Kevin Hart. We'll keep you updated as information is released. And The Bachelor got shockingly serious this week when Miss USA runner-up Kaylin Miller-Keyes opened up to Colton Underwood about a past sexual assault.
The Bachelor contestant thanked viewers on Twitter for their support, tweeting, "To all the fellow survivors out there, I want you to know that your voice matters and you deserve to be heard." So, Carmella, this is the first time that sexual assault has ever really been mentioned on a show like The Bachelor. A real serious undertone to a show that's never really had something like this before.
Absolutely, and Kaylin is like you said, is the first contestant ever to talk about it. So I think it's really important that, ABC really gives her that platform to really let it know that it's okay to talk about these types of things. And
definitely. And Colton also, I kind of like the way he took it. He listened to her story. He had his own perspective, but he also didn't just kind of butt in with his own kind of personal opinions. He let her talk. He listened to her. So I think it's inspiring on both sides.
And it shows a really good way to kind of have those difficult conversations. Sexual assault is a really difficult issue to talk about. But when you can see these people, even on a reality show, talking about these kinds of things, it's a really good example for all the viewers.
Definitely. I think especially the inspiring part, something like this where a show, the producer said it's kind of like a microcosm of reality where really it's not really what's going on. But if something like this is being talked about on The Bachelor, then it's kind of encouraging signs for it going forward on any other show, any other platform.
Absolutely.
Kanye West is showing up controversy once again in Hollywood, this time in the form of a lawsuit. The singer filed a pair of lawsuits on Friday against a number of high-profile record companies and music publishers, including music group Rockefeller, Def Jam, and the EMI Music Publishing Group.
Although the reasoning for these lawsuits are unknown, there is speculation that West is seeking monetary damages from the record label as well as a transfer of property. Now, Kanye West is a controversial figure. He's been having a lot of different things going on. So you think this is really going to work out for him?
I'm not sure. There aren't really that many details out right now, but this is kind of what Kanye does. I don't know if it's some kind of statement on his part, something he's trying to do, but I think the most important part of this is riff with Jay-Z. Jay-Z's involved in a lot of those record companies. I think this kind of drives a further wedge on a relationship that used to be great. They made an album together. Now it's looking even further, like a further rift is happening.
Absolutely. And record companies aren't really keen on kind of giving, rights back to the artist. Kanye West has been discussing this for a while now, but I'm not really sure it's even a possibility that we're even going to see.
Yeah, look, we're going to find out. More details will come out. But so far, Kanye's doing what he does best. He's doing the controversy. I'm not really too surprised.
Absolutely. We're going to have to stay tuned. And a fierce debate has sparked up surrounding the trailer for the upcoming film about American serial killer Ted Bundy. Many viewers are worried that the film glorifies his deadly existence and could potentially offend victims of crimes.
Zac Efron stars in the film as the iconic serial killer who's said to have murdered over 30 women before his execution in prison. In an interview, Efron defended the film, stating that it in no way glorified Ted Bundy and instead simply tells a story about America's most notorious serial killer. Now, Carmella, the trailer, we watched it before, it's kind of lighthearted in the way that it addresses the whole Ted Bundy situation. What's your take on that? I know a lot of people, there's a lot of backlash on Twitter about kind of the way it addresses a serial killer in that kind of way.
Yeah, like you said, we watched it, and in the background there's a lot of rock music. It seems pretty lighthearted. You see Zac Efron, who's really, like a popular icon, like he did the High School Musical and other light films like that. So it's definitely lighthearted, but a Florida State University victim of Ted Bundy says she really doesn't have a problem with it. It shows how, coercive he is. Yeah,
definitely. And I think the big point is Zac Efron, he's a charming guy, he's a likable guy. That's what Bundy was like, and I think they use that. They use Zac Efron's kind of personality, and they do look alike too. It's pretty scary how much they look alike. So they kind of use Zac Efron's, kind of the similar way that Ted Bundy was, the charming way to portray that in the film. I think they took that in a good way. A lot of Twitter backlash, but I think they actually did it right.
That's exactly what their director also said on Twitter. He responded to some of those tweets saying that it doesn't glorify. The main point of it is to show the victims, like you said, were entranced by Ted Bundy. He represented himself in court. So someone with that kind of, personality is really just very, influential and can really have an influence on people.
And the rock music, we didn't love it in the trailer, but I think, it is a little jarring when you see that about a serial killer who's having, rock out music in the background of the trailer. But I think it, like we said, it attends to the fact that Zac Efron, he's that kind of guy, and that's how Bundy was. He was charming, and a lot of his people that he was about to kill kind of didn't think it was going to happen. So it's an interesting take, but on a situation like Bundy, no one's going to love it. So I think there's really no way to win that situation. But I think they'll eventually win out when the movie comes out and it gets closer to that
it'll be interesting to see how it turns out, and if in the end we still feel the same way.
Definitely. So coming up after the break, the big winners at this year's SAG Awards.
Stay tuned, Unpeelers.
Leaving hot coals improperly extinguished can cause a wildfire.
Hey guys, it's Smokey!
It looks as if Smokey is going to use the drown, stir, drown and feel technique. After the first drown, a good start. Next, another drink. And finally, a close feel.
Is it cool? Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, Smokey, catch! Oh, my bad, Smokey.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
They'll test you. Try to break your will. But however loud the loudness gets, however many cheese puffs may fly, you're the driver, the one in control. Stand firm. Just wait. And move only when you hear the click that says they're buckled in for the drive. Never give up till they buckle up.
Welcome back to Unpeeled. The 25th Annual Screen Actors Guild Award aired this past Sunday and recorded record low ratings. The event, hosted by Megan Mullally of Will and Grace, honors the year's best performances in television and film. Our awards show reporter Megan Fitzpatrick is here to give us a recap of the event.
All right, Megan, thanks so much for coming down. Now, who were some of the big winners from last night?
So, some of the big winners, Rami Malek won again for his performance in Bohemian Rhapsody. I mean, who didn't see this coming? He won for the Golden Globes, too, for Best Actor. Some of the other big winners of the night were Miss Maisel won big. They won Best Ensemble in a Comedy Series. Actor Tony Shalhoub won for Abe Weissman for Best Actor in a Comedy Series. Rachel Brosnahan also won for Best Female Actress in a Comedy Series. So, and then Black Panther won for Best Cast Ensemble and Best Stunt Ensemble as well. So lots of big winners.
Now, all these winners and all the awards, what does this mean overall for the Oscars?
So overall, it's made kind of indicators for the Oscars very unclear. We're starting, my prediction is that Rami Malek has it locked in for Best Actor. He's won 4 awards for his performance already. So hopefully maybe we'll be able to see that again in the Oscars. But other awards, such as Best Female Supporting Actress, is very unclear. Emily Blunt won that role and won during the Screen Actors Guild Awards, and so it but she wasn't nominated for an Oscar, so it makes that very unclear. And maybe we'll see Best Picture as Black Panther this year too. So everything's kind of a toss-up right now, but hopefully we'll see more soon.
Definitely. We talked about awards, but what were some of the other big moments, some of the most memorable moments from that night?
Right. So Megan from Will and Grace, she hosted the event, and she made some comments regarding ageism and sexism in her monologue in the beginning of the night. That's kind of gained a lot of traction, gotten her a lot of praise for that as well. And then, of course, Bradley Cooper brought his mom to the event, which I think is adorable.
Huge fan.
His girlfriend was out of town, so he brought his mom as his date, which I think is really cute. Yeah.
That certainly is adorable. All right, so Leaving Neverland has been causing controversy since its release last week. It's the documentary, which premiered at Sundance, focuses on 2 men who claim to have been sexually abused by Michael Jackson as children and their attempts to sue the pop legend. Our film reporter, the one and only Patrick Gunn, is here to explain some of the backlash. Pat, thanks for coming down.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me.
So Patrick, what has the overall response to this film been?
Well, overall, it's been elicited a very strong response from every person who's pretty much seen it. There are some critics who is going far at saying that people shouldn't be cheering for Michael Jackson when he was on stage all those years ago. And there are a lot of Michael Jackson fans who are saying that this should be taken out of theaters, and there are even people sending death threats to the directors. So it's a very extreme response.
Yeah, this is certainly so divisive. I mean, it's hard really on every side, but the Jackson family, they're criticizing it. Why are they doing that?
Well, they feel like it's just another tabloid attempt to defame the actor. And here's a quote from the family. They called it public lynching, as basically when he was alive and in death, that the media is always trying to attack him and target him. And they said that the victims of the abuse target in the documentary, they went on trial for the case a couple years ago, and the courts dismissed the case then. So they just feel like they're just being opportunists, trying to take advantage, and they're basically just trying to make a film and making a profit off of Michael Jackson, who can't defend himself right now.
Now, there's been a lot of work going into this documentary, obviously, to do it justice. So what has the director's response been?
Well, the director had a pretty strong response, saying that he didn't even feel like the Jackson's family even saw the movie from what's going on in it. One of the main criticisms from the Jackson family was that they didn't have enough sources in the documentary to make it legitimate journalism. But the facts about the film is that not many people really knew about the abuse or the details of it, so interviewing just the family seemed appropriate to the director. And he said basically that the Jackson family is just trying to make a profit off of Michael, because every time one of his songs plays, they make some money. So that's, of course, they want to defend their asset.
Geez, so a lot going on here, on the family side, on the director's side, but really, what can we make of all this? And in a crazy situation like this, what's your kind of last resounding take? What can you make in this entire situation?
Well, as someone who isn't at Sundance and hasn't seen the film, it's hard for me to say either way what's really right or wrong. What I say is we should probably give respect to these victims, because like you mentioned with the Bachelor story, you never know. Every story has a different side.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
We'll see what happens when it comes to the public in a couple of months.
So what do you think that audiences are going to perceive of it once it comes out? What do you hope they perceive?
I hope that they see these claims as a possibility and to just think about it another way, because Michael Jackson was a tricky figure. He probably didn't do some things that he should have done as a star, and I think that it's going to be probably a similar response, that people are going to either love or hate it, and they're going to be pretty aggressively violent on both sides.
Great, thank you so much.
Pretty crazy situation, but after the break, the latest in fashion, wearing memes.
Don't go anywhere.
They told me a bottle couldn't dream. That I would never become a superhero. But I learned how to fly. Just to come back in a new disguise. And be the hero that I've always wanted to be.
Hey, Hard, what's this?
That's my resignation letter.
You're resigning.
Why? Because you're constantly ignoring me. You're half as active as you used to be, and you read stuff like this. You've been putting me under a lot of pressure lately. That's why I'm ready to quit.
I forgot. I'll do better. Please, don't quit on me.
Okay, but remember, it's not what you say, it's what you do.
Listen to your heart. Don't let it quit on you.
Let's go for a walk.
Uncontrolled high blood pressure could lead to a stroke, heart attack, or death. Get yours to a healthy range before it's too late.
Peelers, it's that time of year again. It's springtime coming, where the collections for spring are making their debut. The Victor and Rolf collection this year is titled Fashion Statements and includes 18 oversized dresses made entirely of brightly colored tulle with a voluminous body. The designers decided that there would be no intended meaning, inviting viewers to interpret the collection in their own way. Our fashion reporter Olivia Tamino is here to explain the brand's most iconic collection yet. Olivia, thanks for coming down.
Thanks for having me.
So can you tell us a bit about what inspired the show and these unique dresses?
Yeah, so the Haute Couture show happens twice a year, and it's basically just to show the upcoming fashions for the new seasons, as you said. And basically, according to Vogue, Victor and Rolf said that their reasoning for this was to answer the question, to what extent can you say something with fashion? So obviously they took that very literally, literally writing things on clothes. But I thought it was a really interesting way to kind of spice up the show this year.
And what were some of those dresses and sayings?
So there was definitely a wide range. There was more positive ones and there was more negative ones, but it ranged from, there was one that said, "I'm not shy, I just don't like you." There's one that just had a big fat no on it in red. And then there was more positive ones like I Want a Better World and Less is More. So they really had something for everyone. I really liked that they kind of have dresses for every occasion now. There was one that said, sorry I'm late, I just didn't want to come. So for any party that you don't want to go to, you can wear that one. Yeah, it was just really fun, honestly, all of them, and seeing all the different designs.
I love that. I think that's so new, kind of a fresh way to take fashion. Now, of course, it's 2019. Online reaction is always huge. What was the reaction like on Twitter and social media, everything else, on this new fashion design?
Yeah, so online definitely exploded as soon as these came out.
Course,
you saw
yeah.
memes galore. People used them to show their moods, obviously, as people usually do with memes. And then people even took it to edit celebrities into the dresses and come up with their own sayings. So one actually was of Lindsay Lohan. This was my favorite, and it said, "This is how you party in Mykonos."
I love that.
So I liked that one. But honestly, yeah, it's so important to get some online traction with designers these days. That's really how you're going to measure your success. So I think they did a great job at generating some buzz for their company through this, definitely.
And were there other designers that were willing to go this far in haute couture, or?
Yeah, there was definitely some that stuck to the classic, you know, showing their new trends. And then there was other people that tried to go out of the box as well. You saw a bridal swimsuit from Chanel, which I thought was really interesting. But overall, it was just a really fun show this year.
Great. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.
And the Super Bowl 53 is just days away. The LA Rams will be taking on the New England Patriots for the most anticipated game of the year.
Our sports reporter Justin Porras is here to bring us an exclusive preview of the game at Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta.
And what's going on? I am with my good friend and colleague Jonah Karp, who is live in Atlanta for Super Bowl 53. And Jonah, this is your first ever Super Bowl. What's the experience been like so far?
So, Justin, they really rolled out the red carpet down here in Atlanta for us. In fact, last night was media night, or the media party, and you know how much I love lox. They had a lox pizza. For the sauce, they had cream cheese. For the cheese representation, they had lox, and then on top of that, they had caviar. It was an unreal experience, and the actual Wolfgang Puck was serving duck. It was incredible, and the weather has been pretty good. I mean, it's been a little bit chilly, but not like Syracuse, and cold is kind of relative, so I can't imagine what you guys are going through right now. It was about 40 degrees yesterday, and they canceled school. That's not a joke. It's been incredible down here. The sun has been shining, and it's just been an awesome experience. Unbelievable.
You complain about 40-degree weather and call it a little chilly. You're not in Syracuse right now, where temperatures are expected to be below zero out until Friday, but we'll let that go. I'll let that one slide. But you've been on Radio Row, where some of the most famous people in the sports media industry have been. Who have you gotten to talk to, and what are some of the more memorable things that you've heard?
What we're going to do tonight, we have a show. You could tune your radio dial to 89.1 FM. We have a show from 10 to midnight tonight. We have a number of A-list guest celebrities on tonight, including two SU alums, two guys working for NFL Network right now, Scott Hansen and Andrew Siciliano. We had them on at different times. We're going to play them back to back. And we asked them about each other. So that should be fun. That should be a fun experience. A lot of answers that maybe you wouldn't expect from them. Who has more swag? Who is the better cook? Who's the better dancer? Find out tonight.
Well, of course, you guys are asking the best questions. And now, since you're in Atlanta, you're seeing a lot more of what's happening about the game. What can you tell us about some of the biggest storylines of the Super Bowl?
In my estimation, the biggest storyline entering Sunday's game is the age gap between the head coaches. Bill Belichick vying to be the oldest head coach to win a Super Bowl in NFL history. He's 66 years old. Sean McVay vying to be the youngest head coach to do the same. He's half of that. He's only 33 years old. Meanwhile, Jared Goff, he's only 24 in his third season in the NFL. No quarterback has ever gone to the Super Bowl in just his third season. Guys like Eli Manning, Ben Roethlisberger, John Elway, they all went in their fourth season. Jared Goff in his third, and Tom Brady in his ninth Super Bowl. He's 41 years old. So the age gap between the quarterbacks, the age gap between the head coaches, something to keep an eye on.
All right, Jonah, after all that great reporting, who do you got in this game? Of course, it's the Patriots competing for history, the Rams trying to win their first Super Bowl in such a long time. A rematch of Tom Brady's first Super Bowl. Who you got?
Super Bowl close, so I think it's going to be an exciting game. I think it's going to be one possession, but because experience has a tendency in big moments, in big games, to beat youth, Give me Patriots over Rams, one possession ball game.
Thank you so much. Can't wait to see you when you get back. You've been terrific. But up next on Unpeeled, the highlights of Trevor Noah's visit on campus. Stick around, Unpeelers.
They said I have troll teeth.
That my voice sounded like a possessed baby doll.
That no one would ever love someone as stupid as me.
That I was fat, ugly.
Disgusting.
The effect of bullying is potent. We will no longer be the silent majority.
Now, when you see online bullying, there's something you can do about it.
We're gonna take action with the I.
I am a witness. I am a witness. I am a witness.
I am a witness.
I am a witness, and so are you.
Welcome back to Unpeeled. This Sunday, hundreds of SU students made their way to the Carrier Dome to attend Syracuse University's annual Martin Luther King Jr. celebration. The event included a keynote address from a comedian, author, and host of The Daily Show, Trevor Noah. Our campus reporter, Carrie McInney, is here to got the chance to attend. Let's take a look.
Hi, Unpeelers. It's Carrie in the Carrier Dome. I'm at the Martin Luther King Jr. celebration, where Trevor Noah talked about humor, his mother, and his book.
Remember, celebrate, and act. There were singers, speakers, and dancers at this event, all gathering together to celebrate this year's theme, which was the global impact of civil rights. Trevor Noah packed the house, making this the largest university-sponsored event in the country to honor Martin Luther King Jr. While the Syracuse-based Adanvo Ensemble, an African dance and drumming group, did steal the show, the night did belong to Trevor Noah. Trevor Noah discussed his book. Trevor Noah stressed the importance of humor and laughter. All topics in his book, Born a Crime, which was required reading for freshmen this year. In the Carrier Dome, I'm Carrie McInney.
So Carrie, what brought Trevor to campus?
Well, Trevor Noah came to campus in correlation with university lectures. They brought him onto campus. Well, this was also done because freshmen now are required to be reading Trevor Noah's book, Born a Crime. It's a 5-week course that all freshmen are required to take. But again, it was in conjunction with the reading, and a lot of students enjoyed it.
Great, fantastic book. If you haven't read it, I recommend you check it out. So how did students react?
Students loved it, myself included, honestly. He was so funny, but also inspirational. I know that I was posting all over social media because Trevor Noah just captured the entire Dome's attention.
And what were some of the things that he talked about?
He talked about a lot of the topics that were in his book. One of the main things that he talked about was apartheid, because he was born and he was raised in South Africa during that time. He talked about how his mother was a black woman and his father was a white man, so he was literally born a crime. Mm-hmm. But one of the big things that he really touched upon was just how to face adversity when you're thrown into the mix of it.
And overall, just what was the takeaway?
The big takeaway, like I said before, no matter what happens, you are in control of what's going on in your life. Something that he said that really stuck with me personally. He said, you don't let that injustice change who you fundamentally wish to be. And that, I think, is something we really need to take into consideration nowadays.
All right. Thank you very much, Carrie McInney, our reporter. And one man takes road rage a little too far. Coming up, the weirdest news stories of the week after the break. One forward.
Leaving hot coals improperly extinguished can cause a wildfire.
Hey guys, it's Smokey!
It looks as if Smokey is going to use the drown, stir, drown, and feel technique. After the first drown, a good start. Next, another drink. And finally, a close feel.
Is it cool?
Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, Smokey, catch! Oh, my bad, Smokey.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Welcome back, Unpeelers. It's time for the wackiest part of RJ, Weird News, in which we discuss some of the weirdest news stories that we can find.
Unpeelers, please do not try the following at home.
Please don't.
Over the weekend, a 65-year-old man, Richard Komrowski, clung to the hood of an SUV driving 70 miles per hour in an act of road rage. He and the driver of the SUV were involved in a minor sideswipe. They pulled over to exchange information, but their conversation grew into an argument, leading Komrowski to jump onto the hood of the SUV.
Both men were arrested. The SUV driver's charges of assault with a dangerous weapon, negligent driving, and leaving the scene of an accident. And Komrowski was only charged with disorderly conduct. Now, this is an extreme situation, but Komrowski clinging onto that hood at 70 miles an hour, I think, is the craziest part.
Yeah, I mean, was it really worth it? Apparently it was just a minor sideswipe. So really, did anything great gonna come off of like clinging onto the hood?
I'm not sure. I mean, nothing great really came out of it. Both men got arrested, but I don't know how he stayed on. I mean, he's got to be a strong 65-year-old man. He's got to be strong. 70 miles an hour the SUV was going, and yet he was on top the entire time, clinging on for his life. I mean, that's insane. I think Weird News is my top a lot of them that we've had so far.
And I'm glad the man is all right. And I'm not quite sure why the driver would continue driving up to 70 miles per hour. That's definitely something dangerous, especially if he fell off and potentially got ran over. So I'm glad that didn't happen.
That one's pretty crazy, but we got even more coming for you. A Texas man's home security camera captured video of an unusual scene. Raccoons invaded his backyard pool for a late-night pool party.
The footage features a group of rowdy raccoons running around and jumping in his backyard pool for a little swim. Let's take a look. The pool party shortly came to a close when the raccoons were startled by the barking of a neighbor's dog. So I feel like this is a little bit of Over the Hedge in real life. I don't know if you've ever seen that movie, but it's where like the animals take over a suburbia, and I feel like that's kind of what's happening.
That's kind of what's going on. I mean, they wanted a pool party, that they got it going on. Two people, you know, two makes a party. They were both involved. Like, I love that. Hot Texas day. They want a little bit of fun. I mean, in the middle of the night, why not do it if you're a raccoon?
And especially with everyone having all like these Nest cams and different kind of cameras monitoring their home, I'm sure this is not the last we're going to see of this type of video. And that's all the time we have for tonight. I'm Carmella Boykin.
And I'm Sacchi. Have a great night, Unpeelers, and tune in next week for full coverage of Super Bowl 53.